The views on this program do not reflect those of ONTV or its board of directors. Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Terry.
Welcome to OAA Now. Here I'm Sammy Terry, blog of the Dragons Insider, blog of Inside the OAA, one of the hosts between 2 minutes on Ori Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome those hearing us on our local voice on SoundCloud and watching on Ori Neighborhood Television. Got Ian here this week.
Hey, man, gloomy Monday, but the action in football this last weekend was crazy.
I know, it's nuts. I mean, just totally nuts. I mean, you think about it.
We had overtime games,
we had blowouts, we had
some surprises, maybe?
Some surprises, especially one out of league. We're gonna bring back a little segment called interviews this week.
Yeah,
we interview football coaches.
Absolutely, glad to have it back. It's a fun part of the show.
This week we got Birmingham Seaholm football coach Jim Dewald. Coach, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me, Sammy. I appreciate it.
When you look at, of course, your team this year, going through a lot of adversity this year, experience. The last year and a half, it's been just absolutely incredible for Seaholm football. A trip to the state semifinal, which a lot of people were really surprised with last year. I was personally one of those guys. Talk about how the last year and a half has been for you personally and your football team.
Well, it's been fun, obviously. When things are going pretty well, it makes everything life a lot easier. A group of seniors that played and then last year's juniors, and they're back as seniors. So it's really fun to coach those guys. They like to be pushed. They like to be challenged, and they enjoy each week, each Monday, Tuesday. I mean, they enjoy the preparation, and then they have fun during the games. And it's been a really, really great experience for those guys, and it's been fun.
Talk about the offense you run. Of course, the Veer offense. Basically, it's very similar to Adams. How did you get the idea to run this type of offense, this Veer version of the triple option offense?
Well, I've been running Veer for a long, long time, and we've been in and out of center to pistol and doing all that stuff. And I remember a few years back, we were in pistol, we had some good teams, and then we just decided, we start going to pistol, and you start trying to do too much. You start trying to do, the jet reads and the jet counters, and then you become someone you're not. And we decided a few years back, I don't know if we're going to have the talent year in, year out to run some of that jet stuff, to do the play action stuff, to back under center like we were, when we were at Andover, many years ago, and just focus on the game and making sure that we chase our execution and not chase plays. I think when you get into the pistol shotgun, you start chasing plays, and we want to chase execution.
Talk about, of course, your rivalry with Groves. Of course, there was one time that Groves had you 6 straight, and then the last 2 times you got Groves back. Talk about how that rivalry with Groves has been really matured around the city of Birmingham.
It's a fun part. I mean, rivalry in high school, college, pro, it's fun to be a part of. And then it's great when you have a program like Groves, who is very well respected across the state. They're very well coached. They have talent year in, year out. And it's a fun game. I mean, I respect their program and what Coach Flaherty does there. And each time we play them, it seems to be a close game. They've gotten the better of us and blown us out, but very rare is it doesn't go down to the end of the game. And it's fun to be a part of. And right now, we've gotten the last 2 wins out of them, but I'm sure that they're itching to get back to us and change that tide.
Right now, you would be at the 3 seed. Right now, you would, if you two were to play each other, you would play in the district final. You'd be playing Royal Oak first, and then likely possibly going on the road to Berkeley, to Hurley, and then of course Groves will have a tougher path. They're gonna have to go to Warren Mott. I want to bring up your thought process on that play 2 weeks ago. The Caleb play, I call it Ian calls it the play of the year. We have it on audio.
Yeah. Can you set up the play and the situation so those who haven't seen it can get some context of how this all developed? Because it was a tight game. And
it was a tight game.
Yeah.
It was 21-21. Yeah, and I think there's about 7 minutes to go in the game, and it was a back and forth game. I thought we did a really good job of holding the ball, keeping the ball away from them all game. Really, we each had 2 possessions in the first half, and we both our possessions, and they had the ability to score quickly. We do not at times, and it's a tight ball game, and it was 3rd down, and we sent a zero blitz, so we sent the house, and they run a great play call with a jailbreak screen to Jaden, and you just when you see that happening, when you see that the zero blitz comes and you see that play develop, I'm on the sideline, I watch him step back, and you just go, oh my gosh, this is not going to be pretty.
And here we have we have the call. Here's the call.
He's gonna do it at the goal line. He stripped the football, and we're gonna have a touchback. Oh, what a play by Caleb!
Touchback, crazy. I mean, all of us have watched a ton of football. Coach, obviously you've seen more as the coach. Have you seen anything like that in your years of coaching?
You there? Oh, there.
Have you seen anything like that in your years of coaching?
Have you seen that?
Goal line, Caleb Noor.
Coach, you there?
We lose him? I hope he didn't lose him.
I hope we didn't. Oh, we got him. We got him back. Coach, can you hear us?
Kind of cutting in and out.
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay. So I think Caleb Noor's hustle on that is play. It really makes it. Obviously, you get a key with that no quit mentality. What's that?
Yeah, it makes up for it, his effort, Caleb's effort. When you look at, of course, that play, you know what I mean? That describes Seahome football, the heart and the guts that everything went through, you know what I mean, for that play. Never gave up on it.
Sammy, I really appreciate you saying that because I really believe that's part of the culture that our kids believe in is you play. We talk about it every game. There's going to be 160 snaps, and you play every snap to the best of your ability, regardless of the score, regardless of what's going on, regardless of the team you're playing. And, whatever happens at the end of the game, we'll live with, and we'll try to, make corrections after the game of things we did well, things we can work on. But I really believe the culture of our program, really with the senior class has developed that mantra, and I agree.
Talk about your next opponent, North Farmington. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. You're going over to the Tom Holland Field this weekend, taking on a very good quarterback in Jacob Usandra, and a very good Raiders program. Of course, they went through with the Hawk effect I call over there with the Harrison effect. Talk about that matchup a little bit with Harrison. No, with North Farmington.
Well,
my bad.
it is funny you say that. I mean, you watch them on film. We played Harrison before, and you see a lot of similarities to what Harrison used to do. But this is John's program now, and I think he's putting his quarterback that he can throw the ball well. They got
Usandra, yep.
3. The receiver number 3 is a kid that he can get stretched the field a little bit.
Aaron Rice, very good receiver.
Yeah, and then running back, I think he's a junior, number 22.
Whitehorn.
He's a good football player. And we had our hands full this week playing them.
They're going to probably say the same thing with you guys because dealing that Veer, of course, they did have a lot of trouble against Adams when of course Adams basically runs the same offense you guys do with the Veer. When you look at, of course, going into the playoffs, you know what I mean, and looking at, with this team, I mean, like, you guys got a lot of experience heading into postseason. Talk about how that will mesh, especially in a season like this, like we've had no other, especially with this COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, yeah, you lean on your seniors, right? And luckily our seniors most of them were on the field last year as juniors making a playoff run. So you lean on those guys to lead you through this thing. And it has been an awkward little time this year. And I think we finally got our feet underneath us a couple of weeks ago, but we remind our kids, it can be taken away at any time. I mean, it's just one phone call away and the health department could say, listen, you got to quarantine your team. And so you just got to take it day by day, literally hour by hour, and go from there. It is a crazy time, but look forward to it. I think our kids are really excited to play this week, and then get in the playoffs and see what you can do in the playoffs.
How have your kids been holding up? Have they been doing okay?
I think they're doing fine now. I think, like I said, at the very beginning, it was very awkward. And we lost some kids like everyone else. We're no different than anyone else that we play.
Yeah, I know.
And then part of that is the COVID thing, and part of it is it's different year to year. And it just, like I said, I'm repeating myself, but it seems like about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we finally feel like we got a normal routine, a normal schedule down, and you go week to week and ready to go.
Final thought here before I let you go, Coach. What do you have to say to OA Nation about everything that's been going on? You have anything to say to OA Nation?
Well, no, it's a pleasure to be in the OAA and work through the OAA. I think the coaching staff there are phenomenal. The programs are really great. It's fun to be a part of each week. You got to really work to win. There's no gimmies there. And I appreciate, Sammy, you always supporting the OAA and doing all your preseason stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have the coaches thing beforehand, but you're doing the best you can to promote our league and promote our kids and teams, and we're really lucky to be in the OAA and have such great teams and fans.
Yep. Coach Sewald, thank you for joining us this week here on the podcast. Good luck this weekend in North Farmington, and good luck in the postseason.
Thanks, Sam. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, let's go to...
That was Coach. What do you say?
That was a good interview. You know, apologies with the technical difficulties and stuff.
Yeah, you never know with the cell connections. That gets kind of funky sometimes. But good interview, a lot of good information. You get a look under the hood of what's happening in the Maples.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a very good football team to watch over there down there in Birmingham.
Absolutely.
We got recaps here for a lot
So
of football.
since we had the interview,
Yep.
usually we lead off with what happened over the weekend, but we always like to get our interviews in early. We don't want to leave Coach hanging because they got other things to do, right, Sam?
Yep.
All right, so let's do it. What happened? All right, it's the OAA recap. What happened last Friday? Bloomfield Hills 35, Berkeley 34 in OT.
That was a good game.
And as Coach was saying, it sounded like a classic. He said it was a toss-up. I don't know if we agreed it was a toss-up. I can't even remember what happened
Berkeley
yesterday.
would have been the better team, though, in that game, but still,
Zielinski,
Zielinski.
5 TD passes.
Yep.
Anytime your quarterback's chucking 5 TD scores, it's a good sign for your squad. But Sarah Houston.
Hudson. My bad.
Oh, you have Houston. Hudson, 5 PATs, including the game winner.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
For Bloomfield Hills.
And then their defense played really good. They blocked a kick, a field goal attempt, and then they blocked the PAT in overtime.
OT. Yeah, it just sounded like a classic. That one, you got to dig it up. If it's available to be viewed, we've got to see that one.
And that made the Blue whole world interesting now.
It did. Kind of shook things up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Avondale, they kind of woke up a little bit. 26-10 over Royal Oak.
Mm-hmm.
No surprises there?
92-12 last 2 games for Avondale.
Wow. Troy, 49-0 over Pontiac.
It's been tough for Pontiac.
Yeah, I thought it might be a little tighter. I thought Pontiac and Troy might be a competitive matchup.
Well, Troy getting ready to play their arch rival this week.
That's true. Lennon had 3 rushing touchdowns for Troy.
Mm-hmm.
Rochester, 40. Ferndale, 16.
I thought this would be a little closer.
So did I. We thought it might be within. I thought it was
maybe a score or two.
Maybe 2 scores, yeah. Rochester 5-0 since the first time since 93.
Yeah,
historic run for them.
Cylinders, yeah, historic run.
Rochester's defense, 4 interceptions and a fumble. Anytime you turn over the ball more than 3 times, you are asking for trouble.
Yep.
5 different guys had touchdowns for Rochester. Zion Fields' 54-yard TD run for Ferndale was the highlight of the night for them. North Farmington 14, Oxford 3.
Oxford can't score now. 3 points in 2 games. That's bad.
Jacob Cassandra, 14 of 22 for 231. That's a monster day. 48-yard TD for Justin Bryant. Justin Whitehorn, 8-yard TD run for North Farmington. Jake Cady, 36-yard field goal for Oxford. And that was it for the scoring for the Wildcats. That's crazy.
Oxford's got problems scoring right now. 3 points in 2 games. Not good.
Clarkston 35, Seaholm 7.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring up that Seaholm game, that Clarkson game for Coach Dewald. I mean, like, Clarkson's a whole other strategy right now. And that was 14-7 at halftime.
Ooh, I didn't know it was that tight. Yeah, it's I didn't think it'd be a blowout. I thought it might be a little closer.
Well, you know how hard it is in a veer. You know what I mean?
Well, we also talked, too, about coming off the big emotional win of the previous week.
Clarkson
You can have a letdown.
and, of course, with Seaholm. Both teams, yeah.
So Davis York and Mike Hine, 2 rushing touchdowns for Clarkston. Lake Orion 35-7 over Farmington. Lake Orion comes back to normal, or is Farmington that rough?
Farmington's that bad.
Kyler Carson, 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing TD. Cade Manzo, an interception for a touchdown for Lake Orion. Stony Creek 36, Southfield A&T 7.
Yeah. I need to know.
Anything else to say about Stony Creek?
Yeah.
They keep rolling.
They keep rolling. And I watched that game, and that was very similar to Lake Orion game in 2019. Very similar.
Cam Buford, 180, had a passing and a rushing touchdown, so he's on fire. John Fogler, 120 yards and a TD. John Raba, 14-yard receiving touchdown. Ryan Eckhout, 15-yard TD pass to Grant Lowry. Carson Chambers, 2 interceptions for Stony Creek.
He
That
made
is
2 crazy picks. One of them he dove for one.
Isaiah Marshall, 19-yard TD pass and 2 interceptions for A&T.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Groves, 38-20 over Oak Park.
Yep, rough for Oak Park, but Oak Park's finding some scoring a little bit.
They did finally. Johnny Rex, love that name, 65-yard TD run. Stavi Panos, 2 rushing TDs for PG. All right, West Bloomfield, no surprise here, 37-0 over Adams.
I'm a little surprised at the score, but Adams very young this year.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a little closer, like they would have put some points on the board, but as far as the W, we kind of picked that.
92-0 last 2 weeks for West Bloomfield.
That's the football update. Now, I do want to share some cross-country news. Lake Orion men take the OAA Red title this year in cross-country. Tied with Adams at 54-54, which you don't see that often, right, Sam? You've seen enough cross-country.
Yeah, I've seen enough of that, yep.
And it came down to the 6th runner for Lake Orion.
Man.
And they take the win and the OAA Red title for 2020.
Good win for them.
All right, that's the roundup for this week. All right.
I want to go back to this Boomba Hills Berkeley game. I mean, Berkeley had everything right in front of them. I mean, all they had to do was win this game.
That's all you have to do. You're well letting you win.
Yeah, all they had to do was win this game. Instead, they get a field goal blocked, and then they get a PAT attempt blocked. But Tanner Zielinski was the difference in that game. I mean, he had 5 passing scores. We knew how good Bloomfield Hills does a very good job at developing quarterbacks. Of course, Coach Dan Laurie, he's had John Paddock, and then of course now you have Tanner Zielinski. I mean, and then to put the game on the line on your senior kicker, Sarah Hudson, just to make a PAT attempt to win the game, and she delivered.
Hey.
And pandemonium blew out over there.
Routine. Aren't PATs routine? But isn't that the danger, though?
That is the danger if you get a kick blocked.
But you have routine, and you go, oh, this is no big deal. And then it kind of raises the stress level. But give it to, Hudson, right?
Yeah, Sarah Hudson.
Heck of a kick, guts, and it went through.
Bloomfield Hills has had a history of female kickers. Of course, they've had 3. Hudson's the 3rd female kicker on that in program history over there. I mean, it's incredible what they've done over there. But, but the move from the red to the blue, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That, to me, is still mind-boggling. But now you look at Bloomfield Hills now and how the blue is now. I mean, Rochester's already clinched to share the blue title with their win over Ferndale.
Rochester's rolling, though. I mean.
Yes. And now Berkeley and Bloomfield Hills are tied with 1 loss each. And Rochester and Berkeley play each other this week. Oh. Bloomfield Hills has Avondale this week. So, and Avondale has been hot right now. And Bloomfield Hills picking up that emotional win at the two really tough losses to Rochester and Birmingham Brother Rice.
Yeah.
You know, are they back? I don't know. But
one PAT
could a PAT change a
successful
year?
kick. Could it?
Could it change a year?
That's a very good question. I mean, we've seen other teams, struggle, and you just have that one inspirational moment that can propel you on. But their next opponent is
Avondale.
Yeah. So
that's at home for them,
which is a bonus, right?
And if they, what's an interesting tradition for them? When they win, they have like a victory bell. They go, they ring it every time they win. So
do you think they're going to be? I know we're not to the picks yet.
No,
but
they got a shot.
They have a very good chance.
They got a very good chance,
right?
And then you look at that game at Hurley, Lumen. We don't know where Berkeley's at after that loss. I mean, it's hard. I mean,
such
on
a
the
tight
other
game.
side, when you have a very tough game, Coach Sean Shields has to get the team back in. You know what I mean? And say, let's forget about this one. We still control our own destiny in the blue. We got Rochester this week. You got playoffs coming up in 2 weeks. I mean, you got playoffs coming up starting next week. I mean, if you're Sean Shields, you got to say, we're fine. We're okay, And
knowing that their destiny is still before them, it's not shut down.
You just got to beat Rochester and everything's okay.
Correct. And I think that will help them focus, right? So you know that the season's not over. You still have a shot. So as long as you have a shot, the attention of that team is still sharp.
Going up against it. Yeah, and Rochester's been a team that scored 40 every game this year.
Wow.
40 points, over 40 every game.
When's the last time we saw Rochester do that?
1993.
Well, that's when they were 5-0, but score 40 points consistently?
Not in a long time.
Long time.
And they haven't, and they're not playing their arch rivals.
No.
Now that could change in the playoffs if they get Adams. So that could be very interesting.
We've already seen that. We haven't seen them play yet, have we?
No, we haven't seen Adams.
Adams in Rochester.
No,
yeah, right.
We haven't.
That was Stony Creek.
That could happen in the playoffs.
Wow.
And considering where they've been.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at, of course, everything around the week, Stony Creek just they find ways to just make statement after statement after statement after statement.
Yes, and I think the statement Friday was defense. I mean, we know they can score. We've seen it week in and week out. They can score.
They were the more physical team than Southfield. A&T was. They were the aggressor in that game. I mean, they made Isaiah. They caused 2 interceptions from Isaiah Marshall, which was
man, that's a heck of a game.
That was a really good game for Stony Creek. I mean, I talked to Scott Bernstein Friday night.
Okay.
And he was at that game, and he was really impressed with Stony Creek. I mean, how they are built.
They're very efficient.
They are very efficient. I mean, just very efficient, and just this is a team that I wouldn't want to see in the first round of the play or in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And when you look at that district, we talked about this on numerous occasions. They're in that MAC Red district.
Yeah.
With in the MAC Red, we know from beating each other up.
Yes. They've been beating each other up. Mm-hmm. And if Stony Creek rolls in there,
they're not going to roll in there against the MAC Red.
Well, the MAC Red has to be aware. I mean, are they even aware? I know they go, hey, Stony Creek.
I know Zach
because they don't have exposure to them.
I know Zach is definitely not aware of them.
I mean, the coaches have to be at this point.
The coaches have to be, but I know Zach is not aware of them. But
that's okay.
That's okay. But I'm just telling you right now, is this team can win that district. Now, yes, there are other teams in there that can get problems. Like, of course, beside the MAC Red, Anchor Bay is a perfect example. Mike Gioni is the coach over there. We know what he did at Macomb, Dakota, Warren G. South.
Yeah.
And then you look at, of course, you look at but I think Stony Creek's in a really good spot right now. They got a big one this week.
The only thing that concerns me going into the playoffs is how many games has Stony Creek had that they were really tested? One,
maybe one, because they blew everybody out.
Yes. And that sometimes,
That is a concern for me when you look
right?
at that Cougar team. I mean, that is a big concern, is the fact that they have not been tested. I mean, like, now you can say, well, they can say, well, last year really motivated them because the
Yeah.
majority of that team was back and they were tested thanks to those 5
But
games
this is a
last year. But
completely different beast.
this is a completely
Yeah.
different beast, especially going into a district with the MAC Red, who basically have beaten each other up. I mean, some upsets around the Nat League, of course, some Chippewa Valley losing to Utica Eisenhower, and Utica Eisenhower was winless coming in.
Wow.
And Romeo, of course, has been been competitive. I mean, Macomb, Dakota, and Sterling Heights Stevenson, both those teams shared the league title this year in the MAC. But
Do you see it as like it's hard to gauge what the Red over there, the MAC Red, is? Who's the stronger team, or is it a bunch of
I
they're
think
pretty much the
everybody's-
same, and they're
I
just
think it's pretty much the same, and everybody's beating
each other up.
I think that's what it is. And then when you look at, of course, the other leagues, when you look at the OA Red, when
Yeah.
you look at the Red, obviously, I mean, like, a lot of people compare the MAC to the Red. The MAC Red to the OA Red. So, and when
But
you
it seems like the top teams in the Red right now are really separating themselves from
West
the rest.
Bloomfield's been rolling. Clarkston, they're back. Lake Orion's Lake Orion. I mean, like, but pretty much the team I was really surprised with this week has been Oxford. I mean, the fact that this team's only scored 3 points in the last 2 weeks has not been very good. Oxford, of course, we know they have a new system. I don't know if it is in. You look at that game with North Farmington. Oxford really, they can't score. They can't score.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't understand that, especially when you have a new offensive system, new offensive scheme, and the fact that you've been scoring at will in the first 3 games, and now you've not been scoring as much.
But also scouting, right? So when you start looking at, it's not a mystery of what Coach Lyon's throwing at him,
No,
right? So now everybody kind of knows what to expect.
right?
I don't know what their injury situation is. I mean,
I don't know
that
either.
could be a factor.
It could be.
This time of year. You never know who's in or out at one time.
Absolutely, it could be an injury factor, but that's a team I've been really, up and down with Oxford. I mean, that's a team that I think, they've got to find their way now. I mean, like, if not, they might not even make it out of the first round, and that's a big problem for them. When you look at, of course, when we talked about Clarkston, I mean, the Wolves are finding ways to win with different guys. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I mean, like, it was one guy, and of course, Ethan Clark's injury against West Bloomfield.
Did he even
Aaron-
play?
I don't know if he even played.
That's 2 in a row?
I mean, I don't know if he even played. I mean, like, they're getting him healthy for the playoffs. I mean, but Clarkston's finding ways with different guys every week carrying the load. I mean, like, he had 2 guys last week against Seaholm doing that, carrying the load for Clarkston on the ground.
And we saw that when they came into Dragon Stadium, right?
I know.
Who were these guys running the ball? A converted receiver, I think it was.
He had a converted receiver in that game, and I know
and he gouged.
and I know Davis York personally. I mean, like, he had
He had a great game.
he had a great game.
Looked good doing it. I mean,
Looked good,
very
too.
competent, strong runner.
Mm-hmm. He's a really
Shifty.
shifty runner. Yep, I've seen it. I mean, like, but
So they're in good hands.
they're in good hands, and when you look at Clarkston, everybody says, well, Clarkston versus Davison, you know what I mean? Clarkston versus Davison,
That's what they're picking.
everybody's
to
saying
meet
that in
up?
the playoffs to meet up. I mean, you got to keep, there's some other teams you got to keep an eye on. Of course, Grand Blank's having a very good year. Lake Orion, of course, is Lake Orion.
Like Orion has some.
Lake
They
Orion,
have to figure out some stuff, though. I mean, they beat up on a.
Farmington's not a very good team.
Farmington is
this year. I
having
mean,
a
they're
rough.
young. They're very young. But
and they took advantage Friday, and
Right.
they took care of business. They did what they were
Right.
supposed to do.
got a brutal game this week, Lumen.
Yes.
And then of course West Bloomfield, same thing with Adams. Had no problem with Adams. Groves. I mean, like, when you look at Oak Park,
Yeah.
Oak Park, I thought they played better last week. Scoring 20 points. But they gave up 38 to Groves.
Yeah.
And you look at Oak Park having to play Clarkston, and most likely going to be Wyandotte Roosevelt in the first round.
Yeah.
You look at this team.
Do you think they're the surprise of the season? Of what?
I think. Well,
Besides, I mean, on the other side of the thing, I mean, Rochester might be on the positive side. On the negative,
maybe Oak Park. Yeah, I would
is
say
kind
that.
of the surprise.
Because when you look at Oak Park, I mean, like, I thought, they would be better. You know what I mean? That they've been showing me, and they have not. I mean, yes, playing in the Reds it's rough, it's difficult, but I just didn't expect them to be this bad. I mean, like,
Yeah, the adjustments.
they've been bad.
Yeah.
Bottom line, I mean, they've been really bad. I mean, like, and I think that's got to make Coach Greg Carter nuts. And I know Coach Carter, very successful man, what he's done over there.
Yeah.
I mean, but I knew it was going to be a rough year. I mean, like, especially after, they had that disappointing playoff run a year ago where they lost to Farmington after winning the White. And I think it's really they're struggling right now.
Yeah.
I
I mean, hitting 20 points
the
against
start.
Groves, it's like, again, not seeing the game and go, did it come late? Did it come early?
It's a start for them. You know what I mean? It's a start for them. Now they got to play Clarkston, which I know Clarkston's going to be motivated after getting up 63 last year to him.
I still can't believe that happened.
Yeah, it was at Clarkston, too.
That's wild.
And then you look at, of course, we mentioned North Farmington, of course, Jacob Busandra, he's going to be the key. He's going to be the key in that district looming. If the district were to end today, they would be playing Milford, and they would have the number 2 seed in that district.
Wow.
And then you have South Lyon there. But people ask me if Wall Lake Western could be a team to watch out for. Wall Lake Western has not played really well. I mean, like, they've lost. They had that horrible loss to Wall Lake Northern the other night. And I know there's been some turmoil there surrounding them. But it looks like Wall Lake Western is not the same team they used to be. Fenton, of course, right now would have the number 1 seed in that district. But North Farmington's got a good chance to possibly win that district, and could do some
And would
damage.
you have picked that at the beginning of the year? I mean, what's North Farmington's record currently?
They're 3-2 right now.
Right? I mean, you kind of had that up and down.
Well, you didn't know what you were going to expect to win the Blue last year.
Exactly. And, 3-2. Are they better than 3-2, or are they 3-2? Because it seems like the teams that they dropped to, fell to, were
good teams.
Better. I mean, straight up better.
I mean, Stony Creek was flat out better.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they had that loss to Groves. And now they get to play Seaholm, which is going to be a really interesting game. We talked about that with Coach Dewald on the pod earlier.
Yes.
That's going to be a really good game. Clash of different styles. I put the top 5 games, emailed them to Becky.
Oh,
and,
yeah. So the
on the ONTV blog.
Yep,
so
just a reminder of all of our listeners, if you head over to orionontv.org, we have a news blog, and Sammy's a feature writer, so you can see it there, or you can see it. Do you also post it on your?
I do not post.
So we get exclusive.
You get exclusive.
Oh boy.
Yep. Hey.
Exclusive feature writer for ONTV. Nice.
Yep.
You're a busy guy.
Yep.
When do you have time to do all this?
Usually I don't. But
that's true.
But I think when you look at North Farmington, they're in a good spot. I really think they're in a good spot. Now, if Wall Lake Western were to find their itch again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I would say put them right now as a favorite. But jury otherwise, I think North Farmington, right now would be my favorite in that district. We're going to go more into depth with districts next week when they release the official playoff matchups.
Yeah, which is crazy. I can't believe, right? This is coming up. This is the final
regular
season
week. Yeah.
Hasn't it seemed like since everything's so compressed, it's just like, ugh, and here we are. This is it.
This is it.
This is it. The last game of the season coming up this Friday.
Yeah, last games of the year coming up Friday for the regular season before we start playoffs. Everybody's in the playoffs, in the OA.
Yeah,
all 21 schools made the playoffs.
Which I find interesting. It keeps this season going. When the season started, we're kind of like, oh, what's it gonna look
What's it
like?
gonna
What's it
look
gonna
like?
feel like? And right now the teams are now like Coach said this morning. He said that now feels like normal. You kind of the first couple weeks it's like, oh, what's happening, and then you're back to your normal routines, and the kids are playing, and everything is cool, and you have that new normal now with the games are happening. You're traveling, you're doing all this stuff, and to finally get to that normal, it finally feels normal right now. And here we go. We got one more game to go.
Yeah, we got one
It
more
took
game to go.
3 weeks or 4 weeks to feel like you're normal
and now
again.
everybody's in the playoffs.
And everybody in the playoffs. I dig that. I kind of like it.
Do you think this should be the MHA should consider this for the for
I
going
don't-
in the future?
I don't know if in the future, but I'm glad they did it for this year because at least extends the season.
It does extend the season
Right?
for them,
Yeah.
I think that's a good, interesting topic to talk about
Yeah,
another day.
Yeah, the curious thoughts for me are where are they going to have the state finals?
Oh, that's a big question. I mean, like
That hasn't been announced
It
yet.
hasn't been announced yet. I mean, like, where are they gonna have the state finals? Where are they gonna have the semifinals?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a conflict resolution part right there.
I mean, they're going to roll it over to, like, could they pick a big college?
Could they pick up at college?
Would they
Could they play
play
them
it
at high schools?
They could play it at a high school like the old days.
Could you imagine the snowstorms and all that?
I know. I mean, like, could they
December.
play it like at Eastern Michigan? Could they play it at U of M? Could they? Well, I guess they'll be playing.
They'll be
Mac's
playing.
not playing,
Mac's
right?
not playing.
Or are
right?
they?
Oh, yeah, they are playing.
They are,
They're
so
gonna be
because
playing.
Big
Yeah.
Ten said we're going, they're going to start playing.
Yeah.
So, where would they play?
I don't know, and that's a good question. I mean, Ford Field's always been, but I don't know if they're
They're
gonna
not
have the
having
revenue.
it. They're
I
not
know.
having it.
All right, let's look at the week 6 games.
Yeah.
here.
What do we got? Do we have any Is this kind of like the last week of OAA
Last week-
football going to end with a dud, or is this going to be like there's some games that really mean something?
You never know. You
I mean,
never
Rochester.
know. Rochester, Berkeley means
they're
a
still
lot.
fighting for
They're still fighting the blue. The blue's very interesting.
Blue's still open.
Yeah. Let's look at our first game. We got Ferndale at Pontiac. Ferndale's really owned Pontiac the last 6. They've won 6 straight over them. It's at Wisner Stadium.
Ferndale.
Yeah, I really can't see Pontiac touching Ferndale. But when you look at this, if the season ended today, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pontiac could be heading to Bay City Western.
You talked about that before them heading north, but it's like, ugh.
Bay City's a good area.
Oh, it is.
It's a nice area.
I agree.
Off Saginaw Bay, just
I
got to
know.
take travel off 75. I mean, but Bay City Western took on Edwardsburg last week.
Where is
The
Edward?
Eddies. The Edwardsburg Eddies.
Way down there?
Yeah. Of
I don't know
course,
if you guys could see. He's pointing down to like Benton Harbor,
yeah, right near Benton Harbor. That's where
southwest,
Edwardsburg
the
is at.
lowest
Yep.
southwest of the
Apparently,
mitten.
well, Bay City Western did not have a game last week because because of COVID, and they had to make up a game with Edwardsburg, so maybe Edwardsburg travel up to Bay City,
Okay.
and they got blown out 31-0.
Mm.
So
Well, I'd like to make a comment on that. I mean, I know we have our picks to talk about, but the management of these staffs, the coaching staffs, and the kids of staying healthy has been very, very good.
I know.
Right? I mean, it's to be honest, I'm shocked at how
I think
how few the games have been canceled in the OAA
that's
and
a
beyond.
credit to the athletic directors, the athletic department.
Well, it's the parents,
and the
it's
parents,
the kids,
the
keeping
kids.
the kids
Yeah. That's a credit to
safe and
yep,
smart, right?
athletic departments as well, parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're
it's,
following the guidelines, following the rules.
Yep, and you don't want to let up
Yeah,
at this point of
Don't
the
want to
season.
let up, especially when you look at, especially hanging in the fall
Playoffs
and
are-
then the basketball season. You know what I mean?
Well,
All
that and playoffs are just around the corner, and
Uh-huh.
especially those seniors, it's like you'd hate to go, well, this is our last game, and we can't play it
I know.
because
But
there's
that's a
there's
huge-
no makeups now, man.
No
I mean, it's
makeups. It's now or never.
one and done.
Here's an interesting game for you: Royal Oak and Fraser.
Royal Oak and Fraser. That is this week.
Yes, Fraser travels to Royal Oak. Fraser 3-2, got a very good quarterback and a very good running back. Going against Royal Oak, who just seems like I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words. Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Fraser. I know
I
nothing
have.
about. Hey, okay.
I have. Fraser's very good this year. Last few years, they've been in the doldrums.
Oh,
Um,
so they turned it around this year.
Turned it around this year, 3-2. Very good running back, very good quarterback. Thought that it at Sterling Heights. I mean, like, Roy Oak's gonna have their hands full.
Yeah.
I mean, people are gonna say to me in this game, "You're like an all OA picker, right? You're an all OA picker, me. I'm
Of
taking
course.
Frazier in this game.
Well,
I'm taking Frazier in this game because I think Frazier's a more I think they're more well-rounded. I think they're going to give Royal Oak problems. We'll see where Royal Oak is at come playoff time, but I think this team's in a lot of trouble.
You pick them how you see them. I don't think I mean, sometimes you're a little green and white leaning on the Dragons side. Sammy.
Mhm.
Come on. You have to. Come on. I've known you long enough. But you call them, I mean, I would say 99.9% of the time you call them how you see them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
But I got to give Frazier the advantage of Royal Oak.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very tough game.
I'll take your word for it. I haven't seen Frazier in action, but if that's the case, Frazier.
Troy versus Athens. Remember
Ooh.
the interview with Coach Billy Keenan?
Yes.
Athens did not play last week. Troy played Pontiac last week.
Got some points on the board.
This is going to be a very interesting game. Wayne Jashman, David Lennon, Remy Stromberg against Nate Hazen. This is going to be Troy Athens. The Troy calls Troy Athens the school down the road.
Healthy rivalry.
It has the last 2 years has been just 74-0
In
by
favor
Athens.
of, yes. But Troy has scored points this year.
Yeah, they scored points this year. Are they scoring this week against Athens?
And yes.
Yeah, they'll score
They'll
points.
score points, but I think Athens is going to take it.
I think Athens will take it because I think Athens has got a more experience and they're well rested. And Troy, we know, has had a habit of going to the deep Titanic sinking.
They are definitely up and down.
Yes, they are.
For this season. We're always looking for positives. Is there improvement on these teams that have struggled over the years?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Troy has made some positive movements.
They have made some positives. They've won 3 games. I mean,
going from not able to score a point at all until the 5th week or whatever it was last year to actually putting points on and being competitive in a couple games.
Yeah,
that's a good deal.
That's a good deal. Now we got some nitty-gritties in the blue.
Yeah.
Avondale, Bloomfield Hills.
Yeah, this is the fun stuff.
This is going to be the fun game here. Avondale, very athletic, very talented, we know. 90 points last 2 weeks, taking on a Bloomfield Hills team coming off an emotional 35-34 win.
Yes.
Will the Blackhawks need another PAT attempt from Sarah Hudson?
No. I think Bloomfield Hills takes it. Avondale is one of those Jekyll and they handle their business against the lowly guys.
Right.
I think this is more of a superior foe coming in. Don't you think?
I think Sosinski's going to be the
It'll be
difference
closer,
in this game. I think it's going to be closer.
But it's
maybe
not going to be OT.
Maybe a 2-score game. I think Bloomfield Hills much better team here.
So do I.
Yeah. Now they're going to be praying for a Berkeley win against Rochester. Rochester's rolling. Berkeley, we don't know where they're at after losing that game.
Yes.
Do you think Rochester
on the road?
On the road. Do you think they take it outright, or do you think they take it, or do you think they share it?
This is their year. I think they take it outright.
I do too.
They go in, and I don't think it's close.
You don't think it's close?
I think Rochester is on a mission. Don't you think?
Yeah, Eric Vernon's done a wonderful job with that team.
Fantastic, yes.
I mean, we seen Rochester last year, and they were young.
and played like it.
And they've increased their the linemen gotten stronger. They've gotten better. Alex Bano had another year of proven experience. He's got proven receivers as well. Now, I'm curious to see what Rochester is when they get into districts, because they're in that kiss of death district.
Yes.
What
was your pick though?
I'm going Rochester.
Okay. Because when I said I think they're going to win big, you gave me like the stink eye.
I think it's going to be close.
You think so?
Because Berkeley's got a lot of pride. they have a lot still on the line in this game,
True.
considering that,
That's true.
they've got a lot on the line too.
Yeah.
But with Rochester, knowing what they got to deal with after
Do you think
that Berkeley game,
Do you think they're
that
looking
kiss of
ahead?
death,
Rochester?
it depends on the matchup with Rochester. If they come to the district.
Because I don't think they're looking ahead beyond.
No, they're not looking ahead
No,
this week. No,
because too much is on the
But
line.
next week,
Yeah.
yikes, because they're in that kiss of death district.
Yeah,
Now,
it's unfortunate. It's so brutal.
So for Berkeley's case, they got a lot on the line. Home field could be on the line in this game for them, maybe. Considering
Oh man,
that
they
both,
want a home game.
Considering you have both Birmingham schools basically breathing down their necks right now.
Yes.
But it'll be very interesting to see. But I think there's a lot on the line for Coach Sean Shields and his team in this game. It'll be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, that is the one to watch this week.
Yes,
I think that's
the game at
that's
Hurley.
The game.
The game at Hurley, that'll be the one to watch for sure. Where Berkeley's head's at, where's Rochester? Is Rochester coming in this game? Maybe riding a little.
Can they play spoiler?
Can they play spoiler? That's the thing.
It's a share, right? So
if Berkeley wins, there's a 3-way tie for the blue between Rochester, Berkeley, and Bloomfield Hills.
And Rochester wants it outright.
Yes, I know.
When is the last time they had it?
It's been a long time. And I think Rochester will get it this week. Let's go to the white. We got an interesting game, of course. Stony Creek and Groves you remember? Remember we talked about this last year, where Cameron Buford, where there was a bad exchange with Stony Creek, which ended up going for touchdown and Groves won 28-23.
Yes.
Now it's at Stony Creek. Both teams are different compared to last year. Stony Creek's going to have right in the back of their minds that game from last year. They're going to want revenge. They're going to want revenge. And
they're definitely motivated.
This is Stony Creek's second home game.
Only
their second home game. Everybody else they beat was on the road.
How does that
Except
get
Farmington.
scheduled?
That I don't know.
Wow.
So that tells you.
Sammy, I didn't know that. That even makes what they're doing even more impressive. Because
they went to Birmingham. They went to North Farmington. They went to Seattle. They went to North Farmington. They went to Southfield. They went to Adams.
How do you only get 2 home games?
And your 2 home games are against a very good Groves team and Farmington.
That's crazy scheduling. I didn't know. I didn't even realize that. Wow. Yeah, they're going to be happy to be home, and I think they're going to be extra motivated. I don't know what the allotment of crowd size for Stony Creek is. That's going to be there, but it's going to be a rock. If they allow people in those stands, it's going to be noisy and it's going to be raucous.
Coach Nick Merlo does. I watch his podcast on he does like an Armor Up podcast.
Cool. Where can you find that?
I will show you a link. It is on SoundCloud, by the way.
Okay, we should share that with the listeners, because if we can get that info out, maybe next week we'll put it up.
Stony Creek does have a podcast that they talk about their sub-varsity teams and
Awesome.
recaps. And then he does like an elite man of character
cool
slogan. So yeah,
a lot of good stuff over there.
Yeah, there's a lot riding over there.
Awesome.
And now he's taking on a Groves team that has a very good athletic receiver in Jaden Magnum.
Yep.
Bounce back, had a good win against Oak Park. Do they get it done against Armor Up this week? Probably not.
No.
Because they're going to be too motivated. And if Stony Creek wins, that district involving the MAC grad goes through Stony Creek.
Yes.
So, but then again, of course, let's not forget, the team a lot of people comparing them to is Lake Orion of last year. Of course, Utica Eisenhower was a MAC red team, winning the Lake Orion and won that game.
Yes.
So,
and how
Stony
did they
Creek
do it?
They pass defense.
Yes. Well, it's pass defense and the ball control and all these different things. It's I see Stony Creek. There's something about them this year. There's just this confidence in that team, right?
There's something with that team.
Yeah.
They are a special group.
Every time you see teams that are having good seasons, there's teams that can have good seasons. There's close wins and nail biters, and this isn't happening. This team's on a mission. It's singularly focused, and it's rolling right now.
They're rolling
And
on all cylinders.
absolutely. And
Now
I don't think they'll be overlooking.
No.
They're
They're going to be motivated.
Yes,
for
they're
growth.
motivated, and I think they take it.
Adams and Farmington. Both teams struggling this year.
Yeah, interesting.
I think it's at Farmington. Adams very young. Both teams very young this year. Looking for
That's
the future.
kind of a coin flip, don't you think?
Not necessarily for
I
me.
think maybe Adams.
I got Adams as well.
Farmington has a lot of defensive issues.
Yeah, they got some problems defensively. Offense and going against a team that runs a veer. Yikes.
Yeah.
Seaholm and North. Who do you got?
I got to go Seaholm.
You're going Seaholm at Tom Holland Field.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the veer over the Hawk effect. That's what I'm gonna do. I mean, too much experience on Seaholm's side. I think Seaholm's gonna find a way to get to Sandra. It's gonna be a tight game.
Yes.
It's gonna be a very tight game. But I think Seaholm's gonna take over North Farmington. Be a huge win for Coach Jim DeWalt and his team.
Absolutely.
We had DeWalt on the podcast too
Yep.
as well. The Red Games. A&T and Oxford. You know what?
Well, this might be a good game.
This might be a good game. I'm starting to have regrets about apologizing on air last week because of that disaster against Stony Creek. But then again, it is Stony Creek, so I
Yes.
might give him a pass.
Okay.
So I was thinking about that, but for A&T having to travel up I-75 to M24
Under construction.
and Oxford's under worse construction than this.
Oh, man.
And if you're Tim Conley, you must be going absolutely nuts right now. But it would be even more miserable if he came up with a loss,
Yes.
which I think is going to happen.
Oh,
Because
you're picking Wildcats?
I'm picking Oxford because I think Oxford,
You think they bounce back? I mean,
Oxford's line up front is much better than Southfield's. I think they're going to confuse Marshall. Isaiah Marshall. They're going to confuse him just enough. And I think it's a big game for Brady Carpenter. I think he needs to have a big game after 2 weeks of pure frustration.
Yes.
And Tate Muir as well. Those two guys need to go off. If there's something that Southfield Arts and Tech does not like, it's teams that are physical up front. And Southfield is physical up front. So give me the Wildcats over the Warriors.
And you're going to say close or?
I'm going to say 10 points.
Ooh. See, my gut, Sam, you always do this. Like, it's like I formulate, okay, this is who I'm picking. Then you talk me out of it. I'm going to go Arts and Tech.
Go A&T.
By 3.
Really?
Yes.
Goodness gracious.
Why not?
Why not?
I mean, what has have the Wildcats shown anything that says, hey, yeah, we can,
they can win these type of games.
Yeah, and they're tough at their home, and I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna see. I say A&T.
You got A&T?
Yeah.
I got Oxford.
I'm okay being wrong. I'm wrong most of the time.
And then of course we got Clarkston against Oak Park.
Yeah.
Last year 63-41.
That might be a flip this year. Clarkson tagging.
How many points do you think Clarkson's tagging on Oak Park?
It could be 50.
I think it could be more than 50. I mean, they were embarrassed on their home field last year.
Well, I know against Lake Orion at Dragon Stadium, Clarkston wanted to put more up.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to because of what happened a year ago.
Right.
And we saw at the end of the game, you knew they were on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
I think the same thing. It's like, we got to prove to everybody who tagged us last year, we're back, and we're gonna get you back. I just have a feeling it's gonna be a truckload of points.
I think Clarkson route big time.
Yeah.
Lake Orion, West Bloomfield. I mean, last year was a crazy game at Dragon Stadium.
Yes.
4 overtime game. Lake Orion does not have the experience that they have from last year's team compared to this year's team. West Bloomfield, ever since it lost to Clarkson's put up 92 points. It's hard for me to go against the hometown team, but this week I am. And the reason why is West Bloomfield, too much depth up front. Too much depth up front. I mean, I think when you look at this game here on paper, it's going to be a tough sell. It's going to be tough, but West Bloomfield I think it could be a 10-point game.
Ooh.
But I just think at the end of the day, if Lake Orion's defense can make it at least a low-scoring game, I would say they have a good chance.
They have a chance?
But at the end of the day, if West Bloomfield's discipline comes back and bites them, maybe. But I just think at the game's in the swamp, everything's going to likely be stacked against Lake Orion.
Yes. What's the passing for West Bloomfield going to look like?
Alex Shorts, we know, is a very good quarterback.
Yes.
We know
he's accurate.
He's accurate. He is. And they're putting Donovan Edwards in different spots.
Yes. It keeps you off balance.
They got a good power back, and Micah McCalloch, who's had a really good year.
I like that kid. I really like that guy.
Yeah. But the question for West Bloomfield is going to be that line.
Yeah.
And of course, if Lake Orion can stay on the field, offensively, because you notice that game against Clarkston, West Bloomfield had a lot of trouble with attrition.
They did.
So I think this is going to be a tight game. I think it'll be maybe a 10-point game. But
I don't think it's going to be that.
You don't think it's going to be that close?
I think they keep you off balance, West Bloomfield, and the balance they have from running to passing. Like we said in the high school game, if you are balanced, you can pick people apart, pick your poison.
Right.
And I don't think there's a weakness on either side.
But I also think West Bloomfield's got more to play for than Lake Orion does.
Oh,
Lake Orion's looking at likely playing Grand Blanc in the first round.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a really interesting game over at Grand Blanc. Grand Blanc's got a tough game with Saline. For West Bloomfield, they got Sterling Heights Stevenson in that district. And right now, West Bloomfield is the number 2 seed. If the district finals were to happen, West Bloomfield would have to go to Runkle Field and play Sterling Heights Stevenson. Sterling Heights Stevenson picked up a huge win against Grosse Pointe South.
Yeah.
West Bloomfield, of course, I don't know if a win over Lake Orion is going to get them that many points. I don't know if it's gonna. But Lake Orion, let's not forget, it's a 3-1 team.
Yes.
And West Bloomfield, we know, is 4-1 right now. So when you look at West Bloomfield, I think there's a lot more for them in this game than there is for Lake Orion in this game. For Lake Orion, it's just for them. It's
stay healthy,
get ready for the playoffs, and everything will be okay.
They'll be competitive. I mean, they're not going to roll over.
They'll be competitive. They're going to be competitive. But if Lake Orion keeps this within 10 in the fourth quarter, or maybe within a touchdown in the fourth quarter.
If they can do that, you know what? Who knows? Yeah, that means the defense is playing out of their minds.
Yeah, the defense is going to have to play really well in this game. But they
have a hard time scoring against quality teams.
And they're going to need to score in this game against West Bloomfield. So right now, are you going West Bloomfield too, Ian?
West Bloomfield, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be very interesting to say the least what happens. All right, now, everybody, I'm going to sign off here. Had a nice chat today. Want to thank Coach Jim DeWald here on the podcast for calling in, and good luck to his team the rest of the year, and good luck to everybody this whole week. Take care, everybody. See you all next week.
Everybody. Yeah, last of the regular season games, right, Sam?
Yep.
All right, thanks, Sammy. We'll see you next week.
Yep.
OAA Now is produced by Sammy Tierney, and the views on this show are his and mine alone. If you'd like to make your own podcast, give us a call here at ONTV at 248-393-1060. That's it for OAA Now for this week. Good luck, you guys out there playing ball and running and all that good stuff. A lot of cool things happening. We'll see you next week. See ya!